What's up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horn, and this is the NWA, the podcast celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest pro wrestling entity of all time. We're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance, and not only the National Wrestling Alliance. Tonight, we're talking about UWN Prime Time Live, baby. And my God, what a show have we got tonight. Like, this was incredible. You do a show like this every single week, you're going to make some money, son. This is wrestling. But before I get all into that, I'm joined as always by my friends and cohorts. Hey, it's Will and Dr. Stinson. Hello, fellas.
What's up, guys?
Good evening.
Am I overselling it? Am I too excited?
No. You could probably amp it up a couple of notches. Oh,
I don't know what that. Nick Aldis is unhappy. His book just lunged at me. But man, I don't even know where to start with this thing. Like this show is just insane. Like how good it was this week, I thought. And I guess we'll just run it down from the top. And probably what we'll do, guys, everybody in the chat, we want to thank you for joining us. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. It makes us feel good that you're here, especially if you're new here because you saw the first celebrity appearance of Dr. Rob Stinson on UWN Prime Time Live. He made his debut. Luckily not against like Chris Dickinson or anything.
Although that'd be fun to see. I'd like that. I'd pop for that.
I would pop for that if that happens. So maybe we can make it happen at some point. But anyway, so but just right off the top, shout out to Dave Marquez, Todd Kennelly, for giving us that shout out on the show. That was incredible. Seeing Joe Galli get to interview Dr. Stinson, that was one thing, and then they just amped it up a bit further just by even acknowledging us as an entity on that show. That I don't know about you guys, but I got the old goosebumps when that happened.
Yeah, that was a little surreal. I wasn't expecting that. Thanks, Todd, for putting us over like that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, and Polka Dot Pam on there too, man. I mean, the whole, not just us, but the NWA fam was extensively represented tonight. And not only our talent, but Polka Dot Pam, one of our favorite charter members. And then getting to talk to Joe, I didn't expect any of that when we talked in Mission Pro. We were just having a conversation, and I didn't expect that shout out or anything, so I'm deeply appreciative of that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say enough good things about all of the people involved. And yeah, we definitely, Polka Dot Pam deserves that shout out as well. So anyway, sorry, I'm just playing around with the view here. Hope you don't mind. But so I guess right off the bat, let's just jump into it. Let's talk about Primetime Live. Folks, what we'll do in the chat, just to make the podcast portion sound smoother and everything, and just to make sure we're doing this in a timely fashion, we're going to run through a recap of the show with the three of us talking about our thoughts. We can maybe catch some of you guys' thoughts in the middle of it, but keep that conversation going because definitely at the end too, we're gonna involve everybody. We want to highlight and feature some of your comments and get into the deeper discussions about this thing. But
hey Gary, just to start us off, but can I take the liberty of dedicating this to Front Row? It's his birthday today, and
oh my God,
this episode to that other charter member of the hashtag NWA fam, and just want to dedicate this episode to him, man.
Yeah, absolutely. How could we forget WWE? Well, not even WWE Front Row, just Front Row is the man, and we are forever grateful to that young gentleman. And thank you so much, and happy birthday, my friend. Everybody in the chat should definitely wish Front Row a happy birthday. All right, so we'll start this thing off just by talking about just the opening of this thing was amazing to me because it started off with those little video promos of everybody like just talking to the screen. It reminded me of for me, it was like almost like the old school, like right before a Royal Rumble or something, like where they would just do like their the WWE, those little video vignettes or whatever. And I was already amped up just from that. I thought that was pretty cool. Am I the only one there, or was that just like a special treat?
No, I loved it, man. I was the same way, and I was sitting there the whole time, and I was kind of wondering if they had done that last week, and I just missed it because I did have some technical issues at the beginning last week getting it pulled up. But that was super cool. I mean, it definitely got me pumped up, kind of introduced and set the stage for the night. I thought that was a nice touch. I thought the intro and the theme song, it was retro. It was very 80s. Just had me pumped up, man. I was like, okay, this is here comes a pro wrestling show.
Oh man, you're 100% agree. I mean, this was like, coming on the heels of last week's, we had the technical issues. There's nothing wrong with what the talent did and all that, but they really brought it today. And I love that opening package with the promos. I particularly liked Thuder Rosa and Priscilla Kelly's. And of course, we're going to say more about them as the show goes on. But I just have to say that Thuder Rosa coming out with that beautiful Burke belt, anytime we get to see that is always an emotional experience. It's such a beautiful title. And talk about Priscilla crying this whole time while Thuder Rosa has been working and working, and then Priscilla to follow it up. I'm going to tell you, man, we've known about Priscilla Kelly for a long, long time. She has more than delivered this whole lead up to this event. I mean, in just a week and a half time in promoting this, she has more than delivered. I mean, I'm completely impressed from the opening dialogue in the promos to the very end.
Yeah, 100%. I can't say enough good things about Priscilla Kelly. I did not know what to expect. And Thuder Rosa, who's just been on a streak of just battles day after day, it seems like we're seeing something out of Thuder Rosa. But I'm sporting my Thuder Rosa shirt right now just in celebration. But before we get there, we'll start with the beginning here. Todd Kinley and Alyssa Marino on the call. No Joe Galley this week on commentary, but we did get to see him a little bit later. Just up top, I would like to say Todd and Alyssa are already in the zone. I think I feel like those two they're making a heck of a team. And Alyssa Marino, I don't know what she had that bit of time with WWE, and they messed up, man, because she's a get for UWN. Like they're killing it with her right now.
And sometimes you can't tell. I mean, like what's going to happen. We knew that she was talented, and we knew that Kinley was talented. But sometimes you don't know how the dynamic's going to work. And like you said, they've kind of hit a zone where they're just working well together. They're playing off each other really well. This is already shaping up to be one of the premier announced teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we put them over a lot last week. I think, even minus Joe Galley this week, it was even better. They were they were so much an integral part of the storytelling for me, which I think is key when it comes to commentators. They're not just supposed to be telling you what you're watching. They're supposed to be telling you why you're watching it and the stories that lead up to it. And there was a lot of, and we'll get into it when we go down the card, but there was a lot of people that I was watching for the first time that by the end of the match, I felt like I knew them because of the commentary, because that's how in-depth and how rich it was. And so, yeah, I can't put them over enough.
Yeah, 100%. So the first matchup of the night was Danny Limelight versus Kevin Martinson. I saw, I was pretty active in our Discord chatting with some of the folks in there. A lot of people loving this this match is fast-paced action. A lot of people are huge fans of Danny Limelight and what he brought. I was actually really impressed with Kevin Martinson myself. I loved his music and his entrance and just his, I don't know, the way he carried himself. And maybe it was the beard. And maybe I'm just biased towards bearded men. But I did love how fast-paced this match was, and just these guys were doing some damage to each other. I mean, there was a frog splash attempt out onto the ramp, and then that brain buster on the ramp. My God. And Danny Limelight's a badass, but I'm really digging the Martinson presentation. He ended up picking up the win here. But what would you guys think of this matchup?
I agree, man. I thought hard hitting. It really set the stage for the whole show tonight. Just being, ruthless. I mean, is the best word I can think to describe it. I mean, every match followed suit after this opening bout, and so I think that these two guys came out and they set the stage really well. These were two guys that I didn't have a ton of experience with. J-Cal has a really great interview over on the Alliance blog with Danny Limelight, so go check that out. So if you want to learn a little more about him, but outside of that, I didn't really have much context for his in-ring work. So I was thoroughly impressed with that. I was just impressed with their ability to work together. I mean, that match was go, and it hooked me from the beginning. And like I said, it really set the stage for the whole night, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was very, very physical. Lots of action on the concrete. I mean, there's at one point you notice on Kevin Martinson, you notice the abrasions on his ribs and his back. I mean, it was very, very physical. I mean, what a way to start off the show.
Yeah, 100%. And anyway, like I said, Kevin Martinson picking up the win here. I want to see more out of both these guys. So a great debut on this show for them, especially for those of us who weren't super familiar with them before now. Next up, we got a welcome surprise. I mean, I know I was super happy to see it. Aaron Stevens. I mean, they're interviewing Aaron Stevens. David Marquez standing in the back with him in a hell of a nice gi, just looking sharp as ever. And they announced that Aaron Stevens is going to be defending that national championship next week against Trevor Murdoch. So we literally were just talking about this feud, I think, this past Sunday night. And it's awesome to see that this feud's picking right back up where we left off. They're going at it next week on UWN Prime Time Live. Stevens says he's gotten slammed harder by Trevor Murdoch than he's ever been slammed before. He's been hit harder than he's ever been hit before. And he's still standing because he's this good and he's not even trying. He said something like that. And anyway,
great recap.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Rob, I know Stevens is your boy. So how'd it feel? Were you shocked and awed by seeing your man on TV here?
Man, I was pumped. Man, I'm so impressed and flattered that he's grown his hair out to look like mine. You know, he got that Dr. Stinson COVID hair going on right now with that beautiful gi and flashing that national third degree championship. And if anybody had any questions, if we'd seen the end of Monrovia, those questions were answered tonight. So pumped to see a rekindling of what was one of the most anticipated matches that we were looking forward to with Crockett Cup, and now we get to see this, and I know this is going to be one of the storied feuds that will carry on the NWA here as we go into the future months. And gosh, man, I mean, Trevor Murdoch and Aaron Stevens, guys, you know,
who would have thought? Who would have thunk it?
Who would have been talking about that for the past 2 months?
Right, exactly.
No, I mean, I was elated to see Aaron Stevens on the screen. He looked fabulous in his Cobra Kai colored gi, and just the promo was fire. Everything about it got me pumped up. As soon as they started talking about Trevor Murdoch, I was like, here we go. This is what we've been talking about. So, you know, they keep pulling us in every week. I love what they're doing, you know, building to the next week throughout with the promos. I think that's brilliant. And so far they've all just been incredible. And this one was no different. So it's great to see Aaron Stevens. We did wonder if we were going to see him. And so now that's been answered. Not only are we going to see him, we're going to have another NWA title match 3 weeks in a row. So I am stoked. I am here for that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just, it goes to show like just, how important I think the NWA talent is to UWN Prime Time Live, I would say. I'm happy to see all these new people that I never expected to see or may not have even known about otherwise. And that's awesome, but there's still something to be said for just how giddy like a schoolgirl I get over seeing like a feud pick up from NWA Power. Who knew what we were going to see. We can talk about that more a little bit later about how this could potentially be a bridge into that. But that conversation did happen in our Discord a little bit, and so it'd be worth mentioning. But yeah, excited to see this feud pick back up, and already I'm sold for next week. I mean, I already bought it, so whatever. I will say this, just so, because I know it's going to come up, so I will acknowledge that one of the first things that did come to mind here, so we're not just being oblivious to the whole fact, is seeing Aaron Stevens now. Now we've seen Nick Aldis with the World's Heavyweight Championship. We've seen Thuder Rosa with the Women's Championship. We see Aaron Stevens with the national title. It does make you feel a little bit weird for this next matchup that you're still not seeing Eli Drake walk around with the Tag Team Championship. So I don't know that means anything. It's probably non-news, but I just wanted to say, like, I mean, I don't know if it stood out to you guys again this week, but it is something I'm sure other people noticed.
It is. I mean, it was kind of a glaring thing for me, especially since they were very adamant, announcing that the match was sanctioned by the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. They actually said that before the Eli Drake and Watts match. So with that being the case, it felt a little more weird that he didn't have the belt. But I can only imagine and hope that they're going to address that soon, and that there's going to be some kind of answers about what's going on with that. But yeah, it did strike me as a little odd.
Yeah.
Clickbait Gary at it again, man.
Oh, come on, man. I love it.
And James Storm is no longer under contract, bro.
There we
Did
go.
Raven say that?
Right here tonight. You heard it. They wouldn't have mentioned us if we didn't have the scoops, baby.
It's obvious to me that they're laying out. This is a UWN NWA co-promoted deal, and so it's obvious to me that they're laying out. Or it seems obvious to me. Again, I'm not in the know or anything. I'm just a mark like you guys are, but it seems to me that they're just giving us healthy doses of NWA talent so that we can keep the NWA in mind and all that, and that everybody can get exposure. I mean, we're having Allison Kay. We haven't seen Allison Kay in a long time, and she's one that is that we've been dying to see forever, and we finally get to see her next week. And really, that's kind of a bigger surprise. We heard about Aaron Stevens tonight and all that, but we've been anticipating Allison Kay as much as we have anything. So I think we're going to see some things laid out, and we'll see more about the titles that haven't been showcased yet. But all in good time, young Padawans. All in good time.
I just flashed up a quote from the chat. I just couldn't skip it. That Stinson is the breakout star from this show. So,
but not Hammerstone.
Oh, we'll get to Hammerstone. He's coming back. We'll talk some Hammerstone. We'll just do an extra 30 tonight at the end of this one if you guys just want to talk about Alexander Hammerstone. But for now, let's jump into Watts versus Eli Drake. Good to see our boy Drake back. Good to see Watts. Always wanted that interaction anyway. Always thought Watts would be cool on Power. And so it was nice to see this matchup. A completely different matchup, by the way, than the one prior to this, where it was fast-paced action. These two took it down a notch, slowed it down. It was methodically paced and power-oriented. Just these two guys just, hitting hard and just a hoss fight, which is something I think we're all fans of. And I also loved the talking back and forth. These guys were loud and engaging with each other. And man, Drake is no little guy. So Watts is just a giant. That dude is so big and impressive. That's my big takeaway right from the beginning of this one.
Yeah, again, the word of the night is ruthless. I mean, this was a ruthless contest. I mean, these two guys, they framed it up as they're friends, but they're also extremely competitive. They both have big egos, and so you get two egos like that in one ring, and it's going to be combustible like that. And you're right, Gary. It was slow, it was methodical, but it was very well thought out, very well executed. It was a great story, and you could just feel the resentment between them building as the match went. In their words, but also their actions, their facial expressions, things like that. And it was a great story. I thought it was a killer match. I've seen Watts several times, but again, he really, in my mind, was up to notch seeing him interact with Eli Drake, someone I'm a lot more familiar with, and put on a hell of a match.
Oh, yeah. My takeaways, one, I like that they specifically mentioned that this match was sanctioned by the NWA. I love that. Just drawing that back, that this was not sanctioned by UWN, but by NWA. Eric Watts competing in an NWA ring tonight. And you're right, man. This is a big guy. He's nearly 7 feet tall. They have a personal friendship dating back to the early days of CWH. I was surprised to find that they had never wrestled before. They alluded to that a couple times, that in their 10-plus years of history, I'm trying to be serious here, man.
Sorry, I had to throw up on the chat Michael Leonard saying Hammerstone and Horde versus Stevens and Stinson with Will as the special ref.
I want a clean fight. I want a clean fight.
Oh, man, that's Will. Will gonna go straight heel ref in that, man. This is
You
not
know
a
it. You know that. You know that.
Again, very, very physical match. I don't know if you guys noticed at one point that Watts' leg was all sliced up. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I did.
It was a physical, at the word of the night is ruthless. It was a ruthless contest. And the other thing that struck me is that at one point, it seemed like Eli Drake was down for the count, unresponsive and all that. And Kennelly made the comment that the ref could call for a TKO. You remember that too?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That struck me as an interesting point. I don't know if that's a unique thing. I've not heard of that very often in wrestling, but maybe that's something that they do here. But this is an NWA sanctioned match, so that was an interesting point. Very, very solid. Drake wins with the gravy train. Watts was attempting to call for the music to apply that finisher, and Drake slipped that gravy train in for the win. The win was never in doubt for me. I knew that Drake was going to pull it off, even against a big talented guy. But, Watts has got a lot of weight on him right now. He's coming off that loss to Rousas for that Heritage Championship, and his mind is clearly not in the game right now.
Yeah, definitely. And that's an excellent story to be telling. I mean, and he brought it to Drake. I mean, my God, just like multiple fall away slams, multiple he hit that choke force, and like you said, Rob, he was down for the count, the ref asking him if he wants to continue, and it looked like that was the end of it, but of course he's playing possum, and that was it was great, and it was just incredible, that finish. I feel like it's not even selling it as much as, like, if you didn't see it, you got to go back and watch it, because it was just really incredible how, like, when Watts picked him up and Drake just like threw that thing into the gravy train and got the 1, 2, 3 over him. Watts by no means looked weak here, and Drake just squeezing out the victory over him. These guys went after each other. I will say one thing I did notice to this, that I noticed Watts does a lot, and it's always weird to me, was there's no fans, and there's a lot of playing to the camera, and I can't decide how I feel about that. Like, because we talked about it with Dickinson last week, doing it, like yelling to the camera, like he's talking to Marquez and Corgan, which makes sense, I guess. So maybe that's the same idea for Watts here. It's just it's interesting to me that they, at the beginning of the match, they were talking about, like, you could hear the people at home, they're chanting Watts, and Drake's like, no, they're chanting Eli Drake, and right. that whole thing. But it was interesting, I guess, to still see them playing to the camera, even though there was actually no crowd there.
Well, I think probably part of that has to do with the fact that in an empty arena type setting, noise is premium. You don't want quiet. If you get quietness in there, it breaks momentum. It makes the match seem dead or whatever. So there's probably something of that going on. I think, even when we get to further matches in the card, you see a lot of interaction with each other and a lot of vocalization that you might not see in a situation where there's a big crowd in the building. And we see some of this at Power. Even then, it's not as loud, and so you see some shouting out and some playing to the camera in the crowd. So it didn't surprise me.
Yeah, I do want to say that we should give a shout out to Fight TV, by the way. I've seen the questions about how the feed was. Mine was absolutely perfect the whole night tonight. So whatever problems they had last week, completely resolved this week. I saw a couple of people in the Discord say, maybe like one person saying theirs was cutting out, but nobody else was having that problem. So it may just have been an individual thing. Also seeing the question about why Eli wasn't getting counted immediately. Well, I would think that has to do with it's not a falls count anywhere match, right? And maybe that leads into what Simpson was saying about if the ref wanted to go for a TKO, maybe that's what's involved or something, I guess. But I don't think you'd normally get a 10 count for laying on the mat, right?
Well, yes. There are matches where if you're down for 10 counts, I guess that counts as a TKO. Or if you're put to sleep and your arm is raised 3 times, that counts as a TKO. I just never really heard it referred to as a TKO. That doesn't mean it hasn't been. I haven't heard everything, but their 10 count in the ring is I think fairly standard. We don't see it a lot because, frankly, other promotions don't play by gentlemen's rules like the NWA and UWN do. So, but if you go watch classic Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling or old, Crockett Promotion stuff, you're seeing that 10 count is a big deal. Two wrestlers fighting to beat the 10 count by standing up, being the first to stand. That's not uncommon.
All right. Well, I've been educated. So, I've seen the two guys down. I was thinking one person down and one person standing, I think is what I was really thinking of. The next part was really interesting for me because it was a situation where Marquez is in the back with Priscilla Kelly. And first of all, he all due respect to David, I love you. Grated my nerves when he called it the World Ladies Championship. For some reason, that bugged the hell out of me.
Yeah, you're right. Me too.
It is the World Women's
Marquez.
I know it didn't even sound like Marquez, but there you go. He said that, and I saw people in our Discord chat as well talking about they're like, what? Come on, what? The World Ladies Championship. So it almost took me out of the interview there. But here's the thing: this backstage interview, Priscilla Kelly in the opening I was with, and this backstage she lost me for a minute. Just to be honest with you, because not that anything that she was doing was bad. I just, she talked a lot about her career or that everything had been on hold. And I get that. And she had been down in Atlanta and she'd been balling in Atlanta and, not sure what's going to happen. And you're thinking, at least I was, girl, you're about to get in the ring with Thuder Rosa. And, things can be sad, but you better be on your game and you better have your game face on and better be vicious. I think that's where my head was. And so when she was giving the more sentimental type promo, I was kind of going into this match out of this promo, kind of thinking I don't know what to expect out of this. Is that just me?
No, it's not just you. But because of the match that we just saw, I had forgotten about that because Priscilla Kelly came out and showed herself to be a completely different person than what you thought she would be based on that promo. So I agree with you. Thinking back on it, it did hit me as a little weak for what we were building to. But again, the match spoke for itself. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to completely turn that back around when we get to the actual match because, my God. But next up on the actual card was Real Money Bros, Big Money Clutch, and R&B Shug versus Friendship Farm, Gentleman Jervis, and Sweet Robin Shaw. I am Rob over there shaking his head, so I'm going to have to throw to him, I know. But I'm still processing the Friendship Farm. Personally, my thoughts, Real Money Bros are vicious, look tough. I like them. Love that finishing combo they did to get the win. And I also noted that Shaw probably needs to lose those Aaron Stevens trunks because that ain't right, man. But Rob, I see you shaking your head. Where are you at on this one?
This right here has no place in a show of this caliber. This is what we talk about all the time in prize fighting. I don't need to see somebody up there rocking a full-grown man to sleep like a baby. It's an insult. And especially with a team that I actually pretty like. Real Money Brothers, I think, can be a big deal. They look vicious. To see this little nerdy guy about my size pick up this dude and rock him like a baby is an insult to the sport. And I don't know who dreamed it up. I don't like it. It has no place on the show. And I'm not trying to personally insult anybody. They've got their little thing, and if it works in Chicago or whatnot, that's great. But in a production that's going to be associated with guys like Watts and Eli Drake and the real world champion Nick Aldis, this has no place.
Will, you're usually the more sensible of the three of us. You're the level-headed one.
Well,
where are you at on this one?
Well, thank you. I'm going to agree with Rob 100%. It's not for me, man. It's not when I think of wrestling, I don't think of anything resembling that. So, while I can appreciate the entertainment value of that, Rob's got a great point. It does not fit on a show of this caliber. And you put that up against the match that we just saw, the main event, quite possibly the best wrestling match I've seen in months. it blows my mind. I mean, at the time I'm watching it and I'm kind of, not really getting into it, but just observing it. But then after that last match and just seeing the show as a whole, it's just like, yeah, that could have been cut out, to be honest.
This one definitely, especially once you get through this whole entire show, it definitely stands out. And it's, we got to call it like we see it, right? I mean, it's really the one team, because I felt like the real Money Brothers could have found a place against either one of the tag teams last week that we saw. Like they would have probably fit in fine there. They looked actually like a working tag team that looked tough. So it's a tough call. I'm just I'm personally not a huge fan of going over the top with comedy either. It obviously looks like the guys have skill, so I don't know. Maybe there's a broader audience they reach. Gentleman Jervis definitely looks. He's got a unique look, and well, so does Sweet Robin Shaw, and so.
Yeah, anyway. There's no doubt that these guys have talent, that they have the ability, and that there's a place for it. It's just not. It's not here. This is not the place for it. There are all kinds of avenues out there to express yourself that way, but we're talking about a card that's going to be headlined by one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. And this has no place on it. This is an aberration, and it's on an otherwise very amazing pay-per-view. This was the weak point for me.
Yeah. I would say that's definitely something we can all agree on. It was definitely the weak part of the show. All right, so then next up, Chris Dickinson appeared. He got to do another promo. The Dirty Daddy is back. And he's saying, this is the shit that needs to be cleaned up in UWN and NWA. You guys are out here. I mean, he delivers a very impassioned promo. He's not a fan of Jervis Cottonbelly. Based on our Discord, he's not going to make anybody think he's a heel by delivering this promo, because he's hitting the goal of most of those fans I saw. Now we've got people strong fans of pure pro wrestling in there, so I could see that being the case with them. But I don't know. They really leaned into this Chris Dickinson promo. He seems like he wants to clean up the BS, and I believe a star's being born out of the Dirty Daddy, and I think they're counting on it. But where are you guys at on him?
I think so, and I think it didn't take anything away from his heelishness that he was kind of saying what a lot of us were thinking, but it just furthered that narrative that he doesn't give a crap, and he's going to say whatever he wants, and he's got a chip on his shoulder about the UWN and the NWA. He feels overqualified to be there, and that kind of shines through in everything he does. So, just continuing to be interested in where that's going to go.
Yeah, maybe this is why that monstrosity, not even monstrosity, but travesty of a match was on there to give Dickinson something to rail against, because he said everything that I think we were feeling. And this was righteous indignation. I mean, he's talking about cleaning up the bull crap and restoring good professional wrestling. And if he's going to do that, I think, by the way, this guy can cut a heck of a promo. Nobody is Eddie Kingston. Don't get me wrong. But Chris Dickinson he's on the Eddie Kingston spectrum, if you know what I mean. I mean, this Joker is fire on the mic. Gosh, can you imagine him and I'm not trying to always bring this back around to Aldis, but can you imagine him and Aldis cutting promos on each other? That's all I could think is like, geez, this guy can talk and this guy wants prize fight wrestling. Well, there's one man there that I know can deliver that, and that's the champ.
This guy walked out and he was delivering these or he had this look about him that I thought he was going to be. I mean, honestly, I'd never seen him before last week on UWN Prime Time Live. And I thought just the way he was presented at first that this guy was going to be some kind of New York tough guy, wants to sound like a badass bro kind of thing, or he's like a Jersey Shore reject, or I don't know. For some reason, that was the impression I had of him. But he has been anything but that since he showed up. He definitely has his look, but that guy delivered in the ring last week. He looked tough, fought hard, hit hard. And then this week, just this promo, you're like, man, I could get this guy you're feeling it. Like you said, I mean, Eddie would be a comparison point, and I'm glad to hear you say that, honestly, because I was just like, after that this promo tonight, I was just like, God, I'm like this guy cutting promos. Am I getting ahead of myself here? I don't know, like, because this guy's killing it, and I'm like, whoever on the staff like said we got to get this guy in here, and on our show, they made a good call. I think this guy's on fire, and I feel sorry for Gentleman Jervis if that's his opponent next week.
Sure.
Next up, we had Slice Boogie versus Alpha Wolf, Carl Fredericks. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about this match except that I loved every second of it. It was a badass, just balls to the wall, just hard-hitting fight. It was cool. Also seeing Carl Fredericks, just that, they establish this is where Alyssa Marino comes so well into play. Like, she gives this background that I just did not have. So, usually we're the smart, quote unquote, smart fans, and we dig up all this stuff ahead of time. But I had honestly no background on a few people that were on this show, and she is doing such a good job of delivering this part of the show and talking about and not to take away from Todd, but he has like a whole different role some of the time. But he may have been the one that acknowledged that, like, Carl Fredericks had won the Young Lions Cup. And they talked about his New Japan representation. And so it was cool to see that crossover. And Fredericks just looked good, man. Some of those movements of his, those elbows he would drop, that athleticism. Boogie had some cool spots too with a leg drop. I noted the great float over suplex that he did. And just that it built to a nice crescendo. And then they're just trading blows. And Fredericks delivers a huge European uppercut, a Pele kick, can't capitalize. And then he delivers that drop kick in the corner that I thought murdered the man. And immediately right there, I was thinking, this match needs a crowd because they would be on their feet right now. And anyway, Boogie Slice delivers the 21st Street Special, which is a cool move. Gets the 2 count, still not enough. Tries to go for it again, and the Manifest Destiny is delivered by Carl Fredericks for the 1-2-3. It's kind of an impaler DDT type move. But man, I was on board this whole time. That the only thing it was missing to me, like I said, was the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, this one was, you said it best, balls to the wall. I mean, it was nonstop, just go, go, go. And man, I was hooked in. I was enjoying it. I think the only criticism I would have, and this is not on the guys in the ring, the angle that they showed in real time the finish on, it didn't look as devastating. When they showed it on the replay from another angle, I was like, oh, okay, now I see, But I think they had a weird angle when it happened. So as it happened, I was kind of like a little bit disappointed. But then when they showed the replay, I got it. It was just a camera angle issue. But no, these guys are great. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the commentary team on this one, they were educators. Because I was sitting there, I was not only engaged in what I was watching, but I was engaged in what I was hearing because I was getting a lesson in the New Japan dojo system and what that looks like and who Fredericks is and his history and his coming up in the industry. And that was really enlightening and really engaging for me.
Yeah, I love again the putting over of the dojo system. I think in the NWA especially, you listen to both of our champions, Aldis and Thuder Rosa, and they pay such homage to Japanese wrestling and New Japan in particular. And to see Carl Fredericks here in a match, and for one, it was an epic match. I mean, we're talking about a long match. This match went, 15, 20 minutes close to, dominated the near the end of the first. I mean, it went from about, 9:45 to about a little bit over 10 o'clock. It was great. It was solid. There were tons of near falls. I love the acknowledgement of Katsuyori Shibata and his work, because all of us we all venerate that name, and to mention that name and the fact that Fredericks was given permission to use that devastating drop kick. To me, my only drawback is, since you said that, that drop kick should have been the end of the game. It should have been the end of the show, but it wasn't. And whew, Slice Boogie, man, this guy, I didn't know a lot about him before this. I've only seen him a marginal amount of times and not always in the best light. But I was very impressed by this match. And both of these guys are stars on the rise, man.
Yeah, I saw a lot of potential in both of them. I loved watching them go at it, and look forward to seeing Carl Fredericks return, and Slice Boogie for that matter. And yeah, they did. I was noticing in the chat, like you were just bringing up the Shibata and the NJPW LA Dojo training Fredericks there. There's some good like fundamentals there that just. You hope to see more of. That guy had a unique look about him the whole entire time. It was pretty impressive. So the next thing up, I mean, we gotta dwell on this for just a minute and bask in its glory, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Joe Galley out at Buda, Texas, at Mission Pro Wrestling, and he interviews Polka Dot Pam, and then Rob Stinson in the house. Just shows his lovely face right there on screen. And would be remiss if I didn't bring up again that they pop right back and say Stinson represents This Is the NWA podcast. And there we are, right there, fellas, on UWN Prime Time Live. They're talking about this damn show. Like that was surreal, dude. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I was super honored to be mentioned, but I was more honored, and no shade on you guys, but I was more honored to be featured in the same video clip with my good friend, Pamela Fisher. What a lovely lady. And we just had a great time together. And I'm happy that she got to be a part of this as well. She's a charter member of this family, the NWA fam. She's been there from the beginning. And we just had a great time, and we're very proud to be a part of this moment in history. So, and it was nice that they mentioned our podcast. I can't deny that.
And was that in the shed at Mission Pro where that interview took place?
First of all, okay, we're talking positive things here. You got to bring that up, Gary. Clickbait Gary strikes again.
What is going on with this clickbait thing? I'm getting offended by everything I talk about. Oh man. Well, here's the thing that happened here that I was super excited about because I did not know what to expect. I was watching that part, and I was like, well, they're building this match, but surely not with 30 minutes left. Are they going into the main event? Because last week our main event got like 12 minutes, and I think we were very vocal about that. But wow, it really was. They had this show timed out perfectly, and we got 30 minutes of a main event going into Priscilla Kelly versus Thuder Rosa. I love it. Started like right at 10 p.m. and I was like, this show's at least going until 10:30, so this is great. Priscilla with a nice entrance. I love that, for me, like I liked hearing Thunder's old music back. Like she's been going around in Buda at Mission Pro. She had the one punk rock style song. She's had her AEW song, but I think this one is the one, if I'm not mistaken, I could be talking out of school here, but I think it was Billy Corgan that actually did this music. This is her standard NWA music. So that was interesting too. And, but yeah, I mean, Thunder it just impresses me to watch Thuder Rosa walk out, and she's coming right off another epic battle just the other day, and somehow she still looks intense and strong and badass just walking to the ring. And guys, I don't know what I expected out of this match. I didn't know what to expect. I don't know much about Priscilla Kelly, and like I talked about before, I wasn't sure even based off that promo what to expect. And imagine my surprise when these two ladies just get after it in the ring, technical wrestling back and forth, hold for hold. Like these two are going after it. And I'm like, what is this match? This is amazing. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it was just my expectations or what it was, but something about this just like hooked me immediately. I was into this match. I was so impressed with Priscilla Kelly. She looked fantastic in this match. And again, props to Alyssa Marino during this match because she was giving some great background on Priscilla Kelly throughout. And for all of the stuff, like we constantly talk about Thunder Rosa and just how great she is and how world traveled she is. Alyssa Marino is in there delivering that same kind of background for you on Priscilla Kelly. Like, hey, she's toured Germany, she's toured Japan, like, she's been here, she's done this, and she is fully capable and ready to hold that NWA Women's Championship. And man, as the more hard hitting they got, I believed her. And by the time they got to like Thunder Rosa delivering a Death Valley Driver on the stage, I was just like, my God, like, what is this match? I'll stop rambling though. You guys, how'd you feel about Thunder Rosa versus Priscilla Kelly?
I'll jump in. When I saw that it was 10 o'clock and the match was starting, I felt like a kid on Christmas when you have that really big gift that you're about to open, the big one. And that's what I felt like. I was like, they're going to get a 30-minute match. And I knew what Thunder was capable of with 30 minutes. Not so sure what Priscilla was capable of, but I feel like right out of the gate when they went right to grappling, they went right into, some MMA-style submission holds, trading back and forth, some thunderous blows. I mean, it was right out of the gate, gripping is the best word, because I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I was so hooked, and I was chatting in our Discord and saying, guys, this should be a pro wrestling tutorial, not a women's wrestling tutorial, pro wrestling tutorial. This is how you do a pro wrestling match. Priscilla Kelly, first of all, because Priscilla Kelly is going to be the big surprise, no shade on her, but think about Thunder Rosa and what she's done, and they mention that, how many times that she's defended that belt in the last 6 days, 3 times. I mean, Rob was in Buda, Texas. He's still tired from that trip. She defended and defended the belt 3 times, and then flew across the country to California to film Prime Time Live Tonight, to be on that. And I mean, she's a beast, man. Nobody can keep up with Thunder Rosa, with her pace, with her ability, with her badassery. And so Thunder Rosa delivered what we expect of her, because she blows me away every time I watch her wrestle. It's like a new level. Every time I see her, it's like more and more. But we've come to expect that. Priscilla Kelly, I didn't have that much expectation, and she blew it out of the water. I'm going to say 2 things. Number one, to everyone, if you're watching and you let the technical issues last week keep you from getting the pay-per-view tonight, I feel very sorry for you if you're a true wrestling fan, because you missed a hell of a match, a hell of a main event. And number 2, I totally forgot what number 2 was, because that's it. That's it. You shouldn't have slept on this one just because of technical issues. They got it together, and tonight was, holy crap. I mean, it blew me away. I almost can't like form my words. Part of that's because it's past 11 o'clock, and you guys know that if it's like 1 minute past 11 o'clock, I start fading. But man, that match had me.
And you're right, man. I still haven't recovered from Buda, Texas, because Polka Dot Pam kept feeding me drinks there that night at the show, man, and just trying to get me out of sorts and all that, and make me act a fool and everything. But I'm gonna tell you, three world class matches in 6 days? Eva Lee's, freaking the American Kaiju, and now Priscilla Kelly. What a star, man. I mean, what a worker. And these 2 women who went in there and poured their hearts out and let everything on the map. Neither one of these women should do anything but hold their head in pride after this match. I mean, it was amazing. The announcing was awesome. It was fantastic, but this match stole the show. Priscilla Kelly, she lost nothing tonight. She has been elevated. This is another one where, gosh, I was just saying a couple of days ago, we need to see Lindsay Snow and Thunder Rosa too, which I still believe firmly. We got to see more of Priscilla Kelly. We got to see it. We have to.
It's always amazing to me, like, sorry, Will. I was just going to say, like, just one of the things I thought about immediately with Priscilla Kelly was when people talk about people moving in and out of the NWA and that sort of thing, and like, well, now what are they going to do? Now who are they going to get and stuff? And then you run across like a match, like what we've seen here recently on Friday night. Lindsay Snow's still out there working her ass off. Priscilla Kelly just showed back up on the scene, and she's a badass. It's like, there's talent. Chris Dickinson. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Like, there are so many good wrestlers out there right now. And, you know, people got to go where they can get paid, but I'm not at all worried for the NWA finding talent ever, because there just is so much out there. And 100%, Rob, Priscilla Kelly, if you've been sleeping on her, it's time to wake up, because she's the real deal. She's amazing.
I remembered the second thing I was going to say, and that was exactly it. When this match was announced, and I don't remember exactly who, nor would I name their names or bury them on the show, but there was people that were kind of coming out saying, no, this is not the match for Thuder Rosa. This shouldn't happen. They should have a better challenger for her. And they were soured on it before we even got here. And so to those people, I would say, you need to eat your words if you watch that match. If you watch that match and you still felt the same, I don't know if you're a true pro wrestling fan. I know that sounds a little extreme, but I would expect some people to be taking some comments back tonight after watching that match.
I would feel like they'd have to. And I guess we should say, just for the record, Thuder Rosa delivers in the middle of the ring. It leads to a Thunder Driver in the 1-2-3. Thuder Rosa retains that NWA Women's Championship. She's still on top of the world, still one of the best wrestlers in the business today, bar none. The NWA Championships are, I believe, firmly on top of the mountain, established as the top titles to hold. I feel like I would fight anybody on that.
Yes.
Especially after Raw the other night. But I don't know, man. I was super excited about this. Go ahead, Rob.
We're just marks here. I mean, but you don't have to take our word for it. Take Nick Aldis, who's been the NWA World Champion for over 700 days now, who tweets tonight, hats off to @Thuder Rosa and @Priscilla Kelly. They just had an absolute war for the NWA women's, not ladies, women's World Championship. Priscilla got nothing to be ashamed of. She took Lamara Mara to the limit. And now my question is, it's time to start the calendar count for Lamara Mara. How long does she hold that belt?
How many defenses? Jeez. I mean, has anyone defended their title? I would be interested to know that. I'm a stats guy. Maybe I'll do some digging and figure this out. Has any champion in any of the well-known promotions defended their title in the past 6 months as much as Thuder Rosa? That's a question I have. I don't know that there is.
Yeah.
Certainly nobody has in the last week as many times as she has. We know she's got that locked down, but I can't imagine, with the run she's been on for the past month, if any other champion has defended that much. Maybe Cody Rhodes, because he was doing it week after week on television, even during the pandemic. So, but yeah, I mean, she's a superstar, man.
Listen, man, we're talking about Thuder Rosa, Lamara Mara, the ultimate in women's pro wrestling right now, just doing Mildred Burke proud, just carrying the Burke around and just looking fantastic. She delivered a Thunder Driver tonight in an insane half-hour match with Priscilla Kelly following the Friday night spectacle with the American Kaiju Lindsay Snow. All I want for this lady is a good night's sleep, and all she's got to do is go to bed tonight, wake up tomorrow, hop a plane to Jacksonville, Florida, and be on AEW. So, like, she's not even stopping yet. Maybe then she'll get to go home and go to bed. But, I mean, she's earned it. This lady has been on a roll these past couple of weeks. And worth mentioning in the chat, too, by the way, that I saw Andrew McKinney in here, Will. He said that, here it is. It was me, Will. LOL, I'm people. I'm glad to admit that she turned me around, talking about Priscilla Kelly.
Listen, I wasn't going to bury you, brother, but if you want to bury yourself, go for it.
Oh, man. Pam Fisher in the chat saying she'll go home and start sending out all that merch. So that's it. Yeah, then she's just got to head back to the post office. So still no rest for the wicked. We got the announcement for what we can expect to see next week on UWN Prime Time Live. We're getting Allison Kay. Welcome back. Oh, my God. It's so good to see her. I'm excited to watch her wrestle. And not only is she wrestling, she's wrestling a hell of a competitor. It's Serena Deeb from AEW, who has officially, I think, been signed with AEW. So here's another official crossover. AEW competitor Serena Deeb is rolling into UWN Primetime Live to take on former NWA Women's Champion Allison Kay. Ruby Hayes versus CC Chanel. Not familiar with these ladies. I would be looking forward to that. Papa Esco versus Ray Rosas, the new Heritage Champion. He's going to be in competition. And, of course, the Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson is going to be in action. I don't know. They didn't say this for sure, but perhaps against Gentleman Jervis. I hope for Jervis Cottonbelly that's not the case because he's going to die. And then, of course, we have to just say, I mean, Trevor Murdoch versus Aaron Stevens for the NWA National Championship. I mean, that's going to be a barn burner. I cannot wait for that match. So if you are on the fence about episode 3, they've already told you enough. They've told you everything you need to know that you want to be there for UWN Primetime Live week number 3. It's only getting better. The stream is back. And if you skipped out worried about anything, you missed out tonight because tonight was a hell of a show. I guess that's all I really wanted to say about that much of it. We could jump into the chat unless you guys have something you wanted to add to it. We can see what the fans are saying.
I would just add, I think maybe we're all thinking this, but this Allison Kay Serena Deeb match has got to be putting us on a trajectory to Allison Kay Thuder Rosa. We had the beef after Thuder Rosa's all-out match on Twitter between, coming from Allison Kay and Thunder. Serena Deeb recently was defeated by Thuder Rosa on AEW, and now Allison Kay. So there's some synergy being created here and some storylines, even cross-promotional, that I think we can all appreciate and kind of see where this is going, and I'm excited for it.
I see. So I'm going to throw it to the chat just a little bit here. Third Right Wing saying, a few good talents today. Kelly, Money Brothers have the looks of a credible team. 100% agree with that. Brian Rosa is joining us in the chat saying she actually leaves in a few hours and then also has a match in Tennessee on Saturday. So,
sheesh.
That's right. I may be at that match. She's taking on a second-generation star, the daughter of Terry Bam Bam Gordy, in Jackson, Tennessee. I'm trying to do the logistics right now to get out there to witness that match. So, I mean, this is, again, it's nonstop for her. I did want to say something. If you could bring up, there's a Woodland Goblin, our good friend, who's always a loyal follower of her, mentioned something about there's nothing wrong with calling it Ladies Championship, and I just wanted to comment on that. You're right. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not what we call it. NWA fans are very particular about how we refer to our belts. We never call our belt the world title. It's the world's title. It's just one of those curiosities. And you're right. In classic days, and many people refer to their championships as ladies' titles or ladies' championships. That's not what ours is called, though. Ours is called the World's Women's Championship, or we like to call it the Burke. I didn't mean anything by that, Woodland Goblin. I just, that's what we NWA fans are particular, and that's what we refer to it as.
Pam Fisher in the chat saying Pinky's up. She's excited about the return of Allison Kay. Third Right Wing here says Deeb needs to win. Now that's an interesting concept because if Deeb, Allison Kay's been talking a lot of trash about Thuder Rosa here lately. So as we know, Thuder Rosa is holding the belt that she won by defeating Allison Kay, and Allison Kay's had a lot to say about the success and the hot streak that Thuder Rosa's on. It would be interesting if Serena Deeb beats Allison Kay next Tuesday. That's got to not feel too good for Allison Kay. I feel like she would be trying to just dominate Serena Deeb to make a statement, even. Just that, hey, I took this girl to the limit too. I beat her fair and square. Like, she's right on your tail. That's at least what I'm thinking. Like, that would be the reason you would want that matchup if you're Allison Kay. Let's see here. Also getting No More Friendship Farm, please. We've seen that. Steven's new robe. He's totally going 1,000% with the karate.
Beautiful robe, man. I love that robe. He showcased that robe a while back. He was given that robe as a gift, and I don't know that it was on Power, but I think it was on maybe Twitter or something that he tweeted a picture of that out. Beautiful robe. And this isn't him going 1,000%. This guy's a third degree black belt in Mongrovian karate, and so why not showcase it?
Yep, that's a good point. Aaron Stevens is wrestling next week, right? Yes, he is wrestling next week. He is facing Trevor Murdoch, putting that national title on the line. Andrew McKinney saying, "Will, no burial, brother. I'm grown enough to admit when I'm wrong."
Respect.
Respect.
Front row, TR is continuing to build equity in that title. No one is doing it better right now.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, the only person I would even dare to compare to what Thuder Rosa is doing as far as their title being valuable is the Real World's heavyweight champion, Nick Aldis.
This is the Rosa Crusade, man. The Destruction Tour is her version of the Aldis Crusade. You know what I mean? It's the same exact thing. It's in history in the NWA, this is now that come to my knowledge, that come to my immediate memory, the third time. I think of Ric Flair and Bash '86 defending that title so many times in 30 days. This is exactly along the lines of what Aldis did historically and what Thunder Rosa is doing now. I mean, they're doing the Lord's work, and it's just very impressive. And we're witnessing history, and it's great to be an eyewitness to it. So.
Yeah, 100%. Andrew McKinney also asking, am I mistaken that Deeb wrestled at NWA 70 for the championship? Yes, you are. You're wrong again. No, at NWA 70, if I'm not mistaken, it was Jazz defending the NWA Women's Championship against Penelope Ford, actually, was that match. I can look it up here in just a second.
You're right.
Okay. You're right. Brian Rosa says, Allison Kay bores the Rosa family.
So it begins.
She's like Biff, all bark, no bite. And so that's strong words. Allison Kay is no pushover. So, but at least you got your wife to back you up there. Front just throwing some weird random trivia in there. Aaron Stevens has a new gi that is more competition style gi rather than a training gi that he's been wearing. It's a Kiko gi. I don't know, man.
Kiko, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Robert Bennett, Rosa versus Kelly, match of the year. Well, I mean, it's probably going to be in the discussion, I'm sure. But we're on the Destruction Tour so far. Rob, you even being there in Buda, Texas, where does this one rank for you? Is it too early to tell? What are you thinking? Like, what's been the hottest Thunder Rosa match so far in the Destruction Tour?
For me, the Lindsay Snow match was really, really freaking good, man. And part of it was I got to see it in person. I got to feel the vibrations in my teeth. I was so close. I felt the sweat coming off of the women. So it had a different resonance with me. And I still think Lindsay Snow is one of those talents that's going to go far. And I would love to see her wind up in the NWA for a long, long time. But that does not mean that this was an important match. And sometimes in those match of the year deliberations, it's like you said, it remains to be seen. And sometimes the implications of the match have to do with the determination of it. I mean, if we see another Lindsay Snow or a series of Lindsay Snow Thunder Rosa matches, if we see a series of Priscilla Kelly matches and Thunder Rosa matches, it's like asking, what's the better feud? Cody and Aldis or Tim Storm and Aldis, or Flair and Steamboat, or Flair and Rhodes, or Flair and Sting. I mean, they're along the same lines. And I'm not trying to say they're those level of feuds yet, but those matches were they're such high caliber, such spectacular matches, and that just speaks to the heart and the willingness and the ability of both Lindsay Snow, Priscilla Kelly, and Thunder Rosa to leave it all on the mat and give everything that they had. And I don't think that anybody walked away this week thinking any less of any three of those women. They had great matches that deserve their place in history. Gosh, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's pretty even to me. I want to see them both again. And And we haven't even seen Camille and Thunder Rosa yet. You know, I mean,
that's a pay-per-view main event in the making. That's what that is.
I mean, it's the women. What the NWA is setting the women's division on fire right now. I mean,
I'm telling you, just the women that we've seen here recently on the Destruction Tour, you could build like the top-notch women's division of any company out there.
So, who would not be intrigued right now to see Lindsay Snow versus Priscilla Kelly?
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
you
get Priscilla Kelly, you get the American Kaiju, you got Camille, you got Thunder Rosa. Who else have we seen? God, I feel like I'm leaving somebody out. I mean, God, half the
Elise, which is I think it's, but
that was what it was. But I'm thinking like Mission Pro talent over there, like get Genocide up in there, get like
Rose. I mean, you had so many. I mean, it's
I mean, there's the foundations of a really, really solid women's division there. Mission Pros, I guess, technically already on top of it, so they're just kind of making their whole company that. So, Keiko, by the way, was the pronunciation. Brian Rosa saying, end of the year matches, Thunder better have at least one nominated. Totally agree with that. And Andrew with the idea that maybe this is the NWA podcast should compile their old best of the year list. I mean, I'm sure we can arrange something like that.
For sure.
And Brendan over here pointing out Hard Times was in 2020, so don't forget that one in your nominations. Yeah, Allison Kay versus Thunder Rosa was fire.
Yeah.
That is definitely one not to sweep under the rug. Vincent here asking, when will we see the TV and tag team champs?
True. That's the question.
Yeah, that's going to be the big one. I don't know. I saw Zicky retweeting the show tonight, asking who was watching. So he's out there probing around. He seems interested. And the tag titles, well, I don't know. It's interesting to see. Brian Rosa again, Thunder should get an award for making her match with Evilise look good, even though her opponent was not working. Not working in the match. Yeah, that's definitely the not a conspiracy. I guess that's not really the right word. Sorry, Rob. I'm just focused on your face. I'll bring out the other pretty guys.
I'm over here.
You can call me out if I forget to hit the thing. I'm reading the chat. I'm trying to get everybody in and get Will to bed at a decent hour. And
it's too late for that. Listen, don't apologize to Rob. Apologize to the people.
I know, that's what I was going to say. I noticed our viewers started dropping like flies, and I was like, what's happening? Oh, it's just Rob's face. Oh, man. Front Row says, Brian, I hope the folks behind the scenes appreciate what Thunder is doing for them. Rob, you brought up the tweet that the champ sent out right now. I think that it's pretty clear, hopefully, that they know.
Yes. Oh, they know. They know. I mean, even David LaGreca tweeted out tonight. I don't know if you guys saw that. Let me try to pull it up. I mean, he, and he's a friend of our show, and let's see if I can pull it up.
Listen, I see the conversation going on about Priscilla Kelly's outfit, and I do not feel qualified to comment on her attire.
I just think she's a full-grown woman. We're not knights in shining armor coming in here to rescue the women and tell them what to wear.
Yeah, it's a non-issue. It's 2020, guys. It's a non-issue.
Don't be, if you're preoccupied with it, that's your problem.
Yeah. Brian Rosen pointed out next week we get Aaron Stevens. Yes, Brian. Rob he's been texting like a little girl ever since it was announced. He's just been like, tell us, Aaron Stevens. His voice got like 30 octaves higher. And
I didn't go quite 30 octaves. There you go, clickbait. That's 30. a healthy 20 octaves, okay?
Listen, I think after the match next week, we're all going to be really disappointed if you don't appear on the screen in your karate gi. I think that's a foregone conclusion that's your get up next week.
Hey man, if the people demand it, throw a poll up, and heck, if the people demand it, I'll come out here in Priscilla Kelly attire, man.
They will not. They will not demand that. And I'm not going to run. I don't need to run a poll to get that. But,
Here's the Dave LaGreca. Here's the Dave LaGreca tweet. He says, "Congratulations at Thuder Rosa on the third NWA title defense in 6 days." And there's a great little GIF of or do you say GIF? What's the proper terminology?
I call it. I'm Team GIF.
Because you're the one that's into the technology, quote unquote.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It has this.
Because I have a smartphone.
Well, my flip phone works for me. Okay, my flip phone has never hurt me. Well,
If it's not broke, what are you going to do? Get a new one? No.
yep. My only problem is like there's just the slightest raindrop on mine sends mine into all kind of haywire and everything, but it still works for me.
Oh man, let's see here. Will we get a surprise appearance from the question mark? I hope for Rob's blood pressure that it just. I don't know how to do. If we get Aaron Stevens and the question mark on the show next week, it's just going to be too much for Rob to handle.
I will lose my freaking mind. I have Piper in here covering for me. So,
oh well, at least we'll have somebody that can talk sensibly. Question. I'm sorry. Yeah, question mark did face Gentleman Jervis one time on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Let's see here. This person's voice also went up 30 octaves when Aaron Stevens showed up. That's Brendan Tungate. Front row says, "Oh, are we wearing our gis next time?"
Front row.
Everybody, it's a gi party next week.
We're sending a memo out, man.
I'll wear flannel in support of Trevor Murdoch, and you can wear your gi.
I may have missed Rob saying it, but somebody's saying that they will pass on Rob being in Priscilla Kelly's gear. So
Yeah.
What's that?
That's a foregone conclusion.
Rob's gifts are all 8-bit.
They're actually all hand drawn. He makes little flip books.
Yeah.
And then he just tries to post them on the internet.
Fellas, we're going to start wrapping this thing up. If there's something just incredibly important, you can throw it in the chat right now. And I'm going to let these guys just give their Twit handles and Insta handles and all of that stuff so we can get Will sleepy time because I'm sure his wife is there. Yeah, and actually it's all down in the bottom left corner, so you can see it there. Rob got it. Rob made it easy with that. This is Dr. Stinson.
Finally.
At Will. At This is Gary Horde. You should change yours to at This is Hey It's Will.
That's a little bit too much. I feel like
you're probably right. You're probably right. All right. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in to the Prime Time Live post show. It's been fun hanging out with you. Lots of cool stuff to talk about, and just excited to see all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you're new and you haven't, hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Tweet it out, share it, tell your friends and your family, tell all of your loved ones. Put it in your will that you want them to come see the Primetime Live post show. I don't know. Just tell them to subscribe to This is the NWA podcast. We really do appreciate you guys. We love you guys. It was cool being on Primetime Live tonight, mentioned, but that's all because of what you guys do, interacting with us and just being a part of this hashtag NWA fam. So we're forever grateful for that. You're all part of this just as much as we are. All right, well, that'll do it for this week. Until next time, enjoy your gravy cake.